Hi, and welcome to episode 7 of Let's Play Low Poly Modeling Myself. In this episode, we are going to talk about texturing and actually texture. So, as you can see, I played around with the UVs a little bit more, and I repositioned where the face was, and organized things a little bit more, such as having all the hair clumps down here, hand clumps up here, foot and leg over here, foot and arm over here with the leg and torso, or bottom of the torso being here, front and back. This will make things easier for me to, at least in my head, know where everything exists. So, let's go ahead and make this our UV snapshot. That way we can work with it in Maya without having to guess and check. I always try and work at double the texture resolution that I'm originally going to end up with. This is because it's easier to scale down than it is to scale up. And if I find out later that our game's being ported to the, I don't know, what would it be? So if we're working on the iPhone, let's say it's getting ported to a really high-powered Droid, or a new version of the iPhone that could support really fantastic texture resolutions on a really fantastic engine, then I would already have a 1024 instead of having to worry about making a 512 1024. So always work at a texture resolution step higher. I'm going to make it a Targa just because it's great. Get used to working with Targas. I'm going to pause, we're going to go into Photoshop, and we'll get started. So, here's our UVs, and as you can see, it's white on black. Not very good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to invert those colors. Then, I am going to put it as a new layer in where we're going to work on our texture. A brand new PSD. Now, I kind of want to see through the white parts. The easiest way to do that is to select a color range, make it white, and make the fuzziness as max as possible. Then just delete. Now we just have black outlines. I'm going to go ahead and lock that layer. No, not a new layer style. That way I never have to worry about drawing on it directly. Then I'm going to create my first texture layer. Now, I know a lot of people who will make every step, such as the pants, a different layer than everything else. And that's probably a fantastic way to work. I'm not really that good at keeping track of my layers, so I just generally start with passes. The first pass I'm going to do, and the first pass we're going to do in this video, is just going to be a basic color pass. And it's nice and simple. By the way, I added the Toyo 94 color finder. It's additional colors for your swatches. It just has a nice series that goes from bright to dark, muddy, and pastel. I like it. Now when we're doing this, we're not worried about cleanliness or any detail. We're just getting the color on there. So let's start simple. Let's get a nice shade of blue, and we'll add it to our shirt area. Now remember, we're not worried too much about anything in particular. Just get a nice shade, like this one. Nice little color. It's going to be Bob Ross, by the way, from this point forward, as long as we're in texturing. Just go ahead and smack that paint on there. Now I'm going to warn you guys, just so you're aware. When I'm capturing with Cam Studio, Photoshop lags. And I don't really like a laggy Wacom tablet pen. So when I'm detailing, I'm just going to capture the areas that matter. And I'll probably do a lot of detailing off camera. Otherwise, it would take me a really long time. But I'll try my best to get used to it and show as much as possible. For now, though, since I'm just brushing paint, we'll go ahead and show you all of it. Now remember, I'm not worried about the details or anything in particular. Right now, we're just laying down a base coat of paint. If you played Warhammer, consider it like a primer. Oh, we can't forget the back. This way, when we actually start detailing, we don't have to worry about the seams matching up. They'll just match. Just try and overpaint the UVs a little bit. And you'll notice that I have the flow of my airbrush tool set to an area where I get soft edges. You don't really need that. You can go for hard edges if you want in this area. I just like the look of it. Makes me feel like I'm airbrushing stencils. Just get those edges nice and good. Now let's go with the next color. How about my hair? We need a good brown for my hair, and I actually think that would be a good one. And I think that comes with the default Photoshop colors. Good for you, Adobe. Here's my hair over here. And remember, I organized everything so I could remember where it was, and I had everything in groups. So even though that these UVs next to my big clump of hair probably don't mean much to you guys, I know that they're just good portions of hair. Here's one of the tendrils. Here's another. There's the third. And here's the backs of some of them, which I'm not really worried about putting detail in, but if for some weird reason the player sees it, I need to make sure they're brown. And I'll probably add some type of striping to them, so if the player does see it, they don't think too much about it. Now, for my jeans. And I reserve the right to make these khakis later. Let's get a nice jeans color. How about that one? Nice navy blue. That's a bit too... Let's go with lighter color. How about this one? Is that the same one? That one. Aha, we'll go with that one. And when you're doing these base coats, you shouldn't worry too much about it. I'm just being picky. We're just putting down happy little colors. Just fleshing it out so that we're aware of where everything is and we can start painting detail later. Like when I'm doing these pants later, I'm going to put like little marks where they're torn. I'm going to make sure the backs of them have those little frayed edges you see on the backs of jeans that are too long and your shoes keep stepping on. You know, natural effects that people would expect to see that make them a little bit more realistic. Let's go with a good skin color. Now, my skin's kind of... It's like olive stained. If you were to put olive oil on your skin, it's kind of dark, vaguely ethnic looking. I'm kind of a pale Mexican, if you can imagine that. So, we're going to go with... We'll just guess and check. How about this one? See if it's too pink. Nah, that'll do. I'm lighter than that, but we can fix that later. Again, just paint over it. And we can't forget that my neck is actually in the torso area, so we'll have to go over and paint that too. Right here. Now, when we go down into detailing, we'll make sure we get a nice, good line right here. Because last time I checked, my neck doesn't blend into my cotton shirts. And right here. Oh, arms and hands. Can't forget those. As you can see, Photoshop's already lagging because it doesn't really like this. But we're almost done with this part, so it can take a break. This is also why it's nice to have a little bit of space in between your UVs. You know, just so you don't have to worry too much. Have a nice, casual, fun painting experience. What was Bob Ross's show called? It was like Sunday Afternoon Painting or something like that. I can't remember. Get a happy little thumb over here. There we go. That's nice. That's a happy little... I don't know. Pointer finger? I think that's my pointer finger. Oh, we forgot my sleeve. So, I'll make sure to paint that too. Bottom of my hand. Where I have enough texture detail where I can actually add stigmata. We might do that. Because, you know, My mom doesn't think I'm blasphemous enough, so we can do that too. And shoes. You want to reserve your whitest whites and your blackest blacks for things that really matter and are spectacular in your game, such as, light from heaven and, the shadowy depths of darkness and really evil things and really happy things. So don't ever try and use it on a normal character. And my shoes are kind of black, but they're made out of leather and brown, so maybe I might go for a really deep brown color. Something really muddy looking. Might just use a photo source on those. And I'll explain the difference between photo source and photo referencing, and how to improperly photo source as well. A lot of people think photo sourcing is just like akin to tracing in the 3D world, where you just take a picture and you throw it on your texture and say, that's it. Really, that's not it. Photo sourcing is really just using the photo as a guide, kind of like a color guide in an area where you should paint. Here we go. Let's hide the UVs real quick. This is our base coat, our first pass. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to put it up on our model. Now, I am going to save in our textures as a targa. And we'll save over the old texture where I was practicing. I had -D because it just means diffuse in my head, and I might have additional maps on models, so I just try and keep everything organized. Yep, we want to replace it. Now, 32 bits just means it's including the alpha channel. Since we're not worried about the alpha channel on this map, we're not going to add it. And that doubles the size of a texture. So we're going to do 24 bits. That's why you don't want, that's why I didn't put the glasses over here and then make it an alpha map and just have everything else visible in this area black. Just, it would look bad. You don't want that. So, thought I just saved this. Oh, I haven't saved the PSD, and it's angry. We'll just go ahead and save again since I'm already here. Now, let's go to our model. Yep, this guy. And let's add that texture. I already have one, actually. See? Me texture. And it's already linked up. But I want to make sure it's using the new information. Yep, there we go. As you can see, there's still some white areas because we didn't paint the all over, or we didn't paint the color all over correctly. Now, let me show you something so you have a good idea in case you missed it last time. When we do this, we are not going to have lights, and we're going to have to paint lighting information on our character. So let me show you what that looks like. This is what our character looks like without lights in an engine. It's full bright. A lot of games don't have lights in them, especially DS games. PSP games, there's a lot that don't have lights in them, especially iPhone games, because lights cost a lot. And there's so many problems caused by lighting that if you don't worry about it, you can make a really cool, really beautiful 3D game, and it really won't hurt the game, or it won't really hurt the hardware too much. And in the next part, I'm going to show you how to make an occlusion map to add some depth to this character. Now, if you've seen the previous screenshot of how I was working, that was the character with an occlusion map, where it was just white and looked shaded. That was a texture I applied to the character, believe it or not. And I'll show you in the next video how to do that. So, I'm going to pause this right here, going to cut the video, and then we'll start again, and we'll make that occlusion map.